Good morning. We're in Genesis 41 still. Yeah. Genesis 41. Okay, so here we go. Verse 17. Genesis 41, verse 17. So, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat flesh and well favored, and they fled in a meadow. They fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and ill favored. I think we already read this. So, poor and ill favored. So we'll slide down to, and behold, verse 19. Well, it says that they were lean fleshed. Well, I'll read verse 19. 41 Genesis verse 19. It says, and behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill favored, and lean fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and the ill favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine. And when they had eaten, verse 21, and when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill favored at the beginning, so I awoke. Wow. That's pretty ill favored when you eat a cow and you still can't tell that you ate. I mean, even like snakes, when they eat stuff, you can see like the bulging stomach. I have one of those. So they were still ill favored in 21 at the beginning, so I awoke. Okay. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one. And I saw in my dream. Let me hold on for a second to make sure that I want to make sure this is the first or second time he dreamt about the kine. The kine are cows, cattle. So let's check. Okay, this is the second dream about the cows. In 41 earlier we read. So, okay, so in 41, okay, in 41:2 it says, in the first part of the dream, and we'll go to the footnotes in a minute, but in the first part of the dream, the same thing happened. I mean, in the first dream, the first thing happened. Okay, they ate up the fat kine. They did the same thing earlier in the other dream. And then he slept and he woke up and he dreamt about the corn. And the same thing happened with the corn. The lean corn devoured the good corn. So, okay, that's round one. Or maybe he's just telling it to him. Okay. He's just telling the dream to Joseph. Excuse me. He's just telling the dream to Joseph. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We're getting the right stuff here. I haven't read I'm familiar with the dream. It's been a while since I read it. Um, so that's what he's just recounting the dream to Joseph. Okay. That's important. Okay. He's telling it different in his story. He's recounting it different because he's saying that he's saying that it could not be known that they had eaten them. I think that kind of shows like he couldn't know that the famine was coming. So it was about a famine, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so they were still ill favored. Okay, and I saw in my dream, verse 21. No, 22. And behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears withered thin, and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this unto the magicians. But there was none that could declare it to me. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh's is one. God hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And 7 is supposed to be a number of God. I mean, I don't know how true it is, but 7 is supposed to be God's number. 6 is man's number. Um, um, yeah, and that has significance in Revelation too. 7 and 7, 7 horns is supposed to symbolize the Christ or something. 7 and 7. I don't know how that works. But okay, so um, so and the 7 good ears are 7 years, and the dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill favored kind that came up after them are 7 years. Now, verse 20. Verse 27. And the 7 thin and ill favored kind that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What good is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. And that's important too. Joseph says, what good is it about to do that he shows this unto Pharaoh? He's basically saying God doesn't just show stuff. It's not, you're not just seeing stuff. You need to interpret this properly and make the right adjustments. That's what I'm getting out of that. And that's just with anything. That's just with anything, yo. Okay, so. Um. What God is about to do. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. No, I said what good. It's what God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. So, behold, there came 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. Verse 29. Verse 30. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. And all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. Verse 31. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And we're almost entering. Say that we're almost in a spiritual famine now. That's just me talking. I don't know. I mean, the word of the Lord has been dumbed down and become so something because of the spiritual. Now this is me talking. I could be wrong. I think there's a revival happening, but it's not going to reach everybody. I don't think. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now, we're going to read some of this through. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Wow. Maybe I did prophesy about this book yesterday. I said he put himself in a dream. He interpreted it, but he also put himself in it. I said that yesterday, but it didn't happen yesterday, but now it's happening, I think. Wow. God is working. Wow. Okay. So, now therefore, verse 34. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land. Okay? And take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in 7 plenteous years. In the 7 plenteous years. 35. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh. And let them keep food in the cities. Preach. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. Okay? Alright. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants, of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is a man in whom the Spirit of God is? Uh-oh. Preach. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, and guys, I already said Joseph is a type of Christ to me. because, he was supposed to be killed, but guess what? He went on to save so many through the famine. I've already spoke on that. So, yep. So that's just that. Joseph is a type of Christ to me. Okay. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God hath showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Amen. You got to know this. So discreet and wise as thou art. Sheesh, preach. Okay. I like that. Discreet. Yep. Sheesh, facts. Alright, say less. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. To thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. Facts. Preach facts. Hey. This is big, man. This is a typical God Christ picture. Yep. All right. Here we go. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and then he cried before him, bow the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. So he told everybody to bow the knee to Joseph. Preach. This is a classic God Christ picture, if you ask me, because everything's been put in subjection unto him. His enemy shall become his footstool. Everything is under Christ. And guess what? They prosper. Amen. I'm not a big amen preacher, but I'm sorry. Not really. Let's see. Sheesh. I was informed yesterday that I'm not a preacher. I've heard a couple different things since this all started. Okay, for one, I'm evil. Number two, I'm not a preacher. Okay, number three, I'm going to hell for eating pork. Number four, I know absolutely nothing about my Bible and that I should go read it. These are what I've been informed. So, it's funny the things you'll hear when you're doing the right thing. I'll try that again. I'm not a preacher. Quite frankly, I'm not a preacher. Okay. I'm evil. I'm going to hell because I eat pork. I know absolutely nothing about my Bible and that I'm asinine. I heard asinine twice in the same day in a conversation towards me. The second time wasn't about me. It's pretty bad when you hear asinine twice in the same. First one was directed towards my comments that I'm asinine, or that my reasoning was asinine. The second one was just any comment about stuff to me. That was a sign, though, that I heard asinine twice in one day. Who says that? I mean, it's a cool word and stuff, but Like, what? Asinine. Okay. So I'll try to read this through. Let's see. I'm gonna take a quick break right here for a second and let y'all know that yesterday I watched. My new topic is I've undertaken that if I study something, guys, and I recommend this. If you're watching any type of claiming to be knowledge, whether it's a cartoon, graphics, whatever, I suggest you only watch conference type settings. Because you got AI doing reproductions, you got AI videos that are it's basically just a lunatic behind a computer manufacturing AI video. So if you're not, I suggest you look at conference type settings where there's actually people there and you know that you're actually getting a real video and it's not just somebody's hyped up opinions that they made a video about with the production. Because a lot of these documentaries that claim to be something they're saying is solid and important is really just some dude or some demon or something who's got some dude and they're making a big production video. But when you have a conference type setting, this is just my new approach. If there's a conference type setting where there's more than one person, preferably a group of people, then you're more likely to get some real knowledge. Because they're not just going to be saying anything, because everybody's not going to take part in a video that's a bunch of BS. Okay? So, what we're doing here is we're defending the Bible and the Christ 100% and Paul's theology. 110%. We don't doubt anything in the Word. Period. We don't doubt anything. But what I was going to tell you was one of the debates I watched yesterday. It was good. It went well. It was about this dude. I don't say no names here because I'm not targeting anybody or anything like that. But it was a dude. It was a long debate. One knowledgeable Christian dude and another dude. He was a good guy and stuff, but he was atheist. He was very knowledgeable about ancient texts and stuff, and so he brought up a couple of texts. One of them was the Gospel of Barnabas or something like that, or the Jesus' wife or whatever. And the dude was like, well, those two have been debunked. The Christian dude would say, hold on, I'm a scholar. I know about all this stuff. That's what I do. He said, those texts have been debunked. They're not really real. That's why they're not recognized and this and that. And the dude was like, okay, fair enough. So another point that happened was that a lot of the stuff the other guy was saying was just a moral reasoning position that God is not fair, God is not nice, because of all the killing that happened and all the stuff that he authorized in the Old Testament. And that by blessing and by giving people their land, he was also slaughtering a lot of people. So it wasn't just like God was just all nice. But that was just his line of reasoning. I don't agree with his line of reasoning. But one thing I know, my understanding is that God can do what he wants to do. He can just go and smite and kill and rape and do whatever he wants. God is still God. Okay, don't quote me on that. That's what I'm saying he does, but that's what they were saying he's doing. But I can't tell God what he's supposed to do. All I know is that the Bible is true. So if it says that God had people go rape and kill people according to him and condone slavery, then that's what happened. And that's what happened. So that's what the debate left, and the dude just left early. And it was a very respectful debate. Everybody said, hey, have a good day. Thanks for coming. Thanks for interacting. You're a great guy. La, 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 la. So that's what happened. But yeah. So I just wanted to share with you that every day I'm studying at least one debate a day about, I watched another one too. It wasn't really nothing that stood out, but a lot of the stuff, the reasoning they have towards it is just logical reasoning that they're trying to bring to it, saying that, oh, God was all good, then this wouldn't happen, blah, blah, A, B, and C. So a lot of it is just a lot of word sparring and stuff like that, and logical stuff. But guess what? God isn't logical. But yeah, let's keep going, man. I just wanted to share with you my update of my study yesterday, because every day I commit myself to a study where I'm studying myself, conference type settings, so that I know I'm not getting some AI generated video. I got nothing against AI. I'm just saying, I'm not just reading something that could be saying anything, because there's a lot of stuff. If you just go behind the YouTube, and God is involved in YouTube too, I think. So if you just go looking for stuff, God's gonna let you find some stupid stuff that's gonna lead you down a path that you already wanted it to say. If you try to take a stand and go cautious, like I'm saying, and look for conference type settings where people have to say stuff, what they're saying in front of other people is being recorded. They can't just say any wild theory. They're actually saying, or if they say something, they can say, hey, it's just a theory, you know. But if you're not careful and you go on this stuff and there's no audience there, and it's just a regular documentary with going from scene to scene to scene, there's really nothing saying that somebody had to like review this. It's just a published documentary, sci-fi basically. A lot of this stuff is going to be saying some wild stuff, so I try to keep my education to these conference type settings, speaker meetings, conference type settings, like almost like a TEDx, but more like a debate. That's where my studies are right now, so that I know that what I'm studying has to be said in front of people. It's not just something that somebody's saying, because that is a devil's workshop to have just some published thing that's going to be all about negative stuff towards the Christ. But that's actually not the case. The Christ is very much recognized. Very much recognized. So without going down that rabbit hole again today, let's keep doing our study. So I'll keep you updated on the stuff that I'm seeing. And once again, Christ stands firm. By the way, guys, the live is back up. We do Bible trivia and defending the Bible. So, for lack of better words, I mean, there's better words, but that's just what the title says right now. We don't have no set time. We just pop up when we want to pop up. Kind of like God. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before. Hold on. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath Paaneah. Zaphnath Paaneah. And he gave, I'm not standing behind that pronunciation, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of Asenath, priest of On. And Joseph went out of all the land of Egypt. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, here's a job, here's a career, here's a wife. Wow. Sheesh. It took a God picture almost, because God giving Christ the bride. That's us. I mean, God is Christ. I'm just saying. Don't get hung up on that whole God Christ thing, because that's stupid. Well, God is Christ. Which one is it? It doesn't matter. It's either one, or both, or none. I mean, not none. It's either one or the other. It's either God and Christ, the Trinity Godhead, or it's just God and Christ. Either way, they're still both in authority. So it doesn't matter what you get hung up on. And that's an important point, guys. Whether it's God and Christ, two separate entities, if Christ isn't God, it's not going to change anything as far as authority goes. They're both in charge. Okay, I like to think, like it said, it's the same one. Jesus Christ is God in the flesh. So, to get hung up on that is kind of stupid. I mean, it's really stupid. Either way, they're both in charge. Does it matter which one answers or no? What matters is who you're answering to. It doesn't matter who answers to who up there. What matters is who you answer to. You steady hanging up on who they're answering to. You know, you're not answering. You're not doing it right. You should be worried about who you're answering to. Jesus Christ, who's interceding. You know, I guess. The technicalities don't matter, man. What matters is what you're doing. Now, in 46, and Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and looks like a Christ picture again. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth handfuls. And he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt and the fields, and laid up the food in the cities, the food of the field, which was round about every city. They laid he up in the same. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much, until he left numbering, for it was without number. Sounds like the multitudes in Revelation. It was just countless. What he said, the multitudes. There's another word he had, but the throngs of people. He just saw throngs. You know, you couldn't number it. It was without number. It says that in Revelations. It was without number. Revelation. I was told that I also don't know how to pronounce the title of the book, Revelation. It's not Revelations. This is what I'm told. Yeah. He's right. I mean, I don't see what the problem is by calling it Revelations. It's Revelation. It's just comical. They get all the details right, but the fundamental stuff is off. I'm not a preacher. You know, it's just, it's just ridiculous. I love it. It's comical. They say a prophet is never recognized in his hometown. And that's one of the things they said about Jesus. Oh, no, he's just a carpenter. No, that's Joseph's son. That's not the Messiah. A prophet is never recognized in his hometown, he said. I can vouch for that. I don't know that I'm a prophet, I'm just saying. I have had that theory before, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Seriously, I have said that to people, hey man, because I had a lot going on before about research and stuff. It's a lot of just intuition going on, and just it was misplaced at the time. I said, what if I'm a prophet? What if I'm a prophet? Just letting y'all know, that's just facts. That's just something that I had on me. I wouldn't be surprised, whatever that. I mean, I did a whole paper on prophecy, but what that means. So I wouldn't be surprised, man. And unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for God said, He hath made me forget my toil in all my father's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim, for God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Okay. And in the 7 years, and the 7 years of plenteousness that was in the land of Egypt were ended. 54. And the 7 years of dearth began to come, according as Joseph had said. And the dearth it calls dearth, D-E-A-R-T-H, like earth but with a D. I've never seen that. That's cool. This is King James version. And the dearth was in all the lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt came, and this is to me this is an image too, almost of the end times, when we're like the storehouses, when we have the Christ and we have really applied Him correctly. It's not really us, it's God. When God works His magic on us, and that happens, and we're in the correct position because of however that works, whether it's God or us or both. Probably mostly God, but when that happens, probably mostly completely God. When it's really just all God, to be honest with you. But yeah, when that happens, we're like the storehouses that God had set aside, and the Lord has done His work. And one of my theologies now that I say is my theology, guys, is that when you, to be completely free is to be completely in God's control. To be doing that's complete freedom, and that's kind of a paradox or a contradiction thing. I don't know, but free will is not very understood. I don't really agree with the free will thing that they're saying. But when you pull away from God 100%, you're just making your own choices. When you think you're at your most free, you're actually your most in bondage. So that's just my theology on that. We're enslaved by other things, stuff like that. But guess what? God is using that too. Nothing is not being used by God. Okay. That's it. He's using the bad to work other things, just like he did with Joseph when he was about to get killed. Now look at him. He's saving all the land of Egypt through his technology and his wisdom from God, of course. So whatever situation you're in, God is going to use you. God is going to always use you, even if you're on the wrong side. So that's what I'm saying, and I'll say it one more time: is that you know, when we're complete obedience, that's where the most freedom is. When God is in full control, and you really just, I mean, He's in full control, but when you really just align yourself with that, and you just, you know, say, God, take me, God, let's do this. That's true freedom. Because God is the epitome of freedom. God is all freedom. He is the most freedom there is. You know, so when God is on you like that, it's kind of hard to understand, because when you throw in the towel and give God control, that's freedom, 100%. That's your most free state, because God is just going to give it back to you. Once you give it to God, God's going to give it back to you, because you're on the right track. Now I'm just preaching, man. That's not Bible. That's just me. But you'll have a sense of freedom like never before, to me. You know, you're moving around, and it feels right. It's hard to explain, but yeah. So that's that. Preach. Whereas if you're in the bondage or something, for me it was drugs. That's more like a carrot on a donkey type thing, you know, or a horse. You know that old cartoon where they have, or an old cartoon setting where they have a carrot hung in front of a horse. You're just being carried along to where that carrot is, and you're following it, and that's like the drugs or whatever it is. You're just being pulled along by it. You're not free moving. You're following whatever you're enslaved to, whether it be your pride or anything like that. But no, when we're in God, we're free. We're free. We're not being enslaved to everything like that. We're slaves of Christ. So, yeah. So, and now, in the 7 years of plenteousness were ended. Okay, in dearth. And dearth was in all the lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, Go unto Joseph, what he saith to you do. This is, yeah, like I said, this is a Christ picture. And the famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. And all the countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was sore in all the lands. And that's our reading. Now we're going to go to the footnotes for our last little 5 minutes. Let's see what they say. 41. Let's see. Bear with me, y'all. I don't just read this stuff because it's not scripture. But if I see something that stands out, I'll let you know. Stand by 1 second. It's important to know that Joseph consistently acknowledges God for the source of his special gifting, and that's me too. Any good thing that comes from me, any good thing, this channel, this preaching, my understanding, my motivation, anything that comes from me is from God, and I've been telling people that since day one. This is not my channel. This is not my motivation. Everything, even every word that I speak, is God's. That's just the way the world is. Okay. So, but yeah, it's totally not. This whole vision of this channel was God. Okay, so that's all I'm saying is that Joseph always gave credit to God for everything. None of it is us. None of it. Not this preaching, not this study, not this tablet that I used to write on, not this cell. Everything has been set up by God. It's just acknowledging that. You know, that's an important point. If you want to get full blessings, you need to give full credit to God. Don't try to take the reins back and say you did any of this. And that's me too. I did none of this. I'm talking about none. My very existence, my very presence, any intellectual capacity I have comes from God. Yeah, I'm using it. I mean, I'm experiencing it, but it's not me at all. Period. I'm just like a case. I'm like a mummy. There's nothing going on in me except for bad stuff. Drug addictions, despair, all that crazy stuff, incarceration. That's me. Anything that good comes from me is from God. Period. End of story. And that's important. People can try to say, "Oh, you're good. It's really this." No, it's really you. You're doing a good job. No, okay, thank you. I'll take that, but it's not me. It's not me. I'm gonna turn around and give the credit right to God. Boom. Here you go. That ain't mine. I didn't do this. End of story. But guess what? When you give it to God, guess what? He gonna give it right back to you. Here you go. Thank you. You gave the credit where it's due. Now here, go take that. That's how God works. Because guess what? God is trying to live vicariously through you. Now that's my theology. Don't quote me on that. God is living vicariously through you. Whatever vicariously means. That's not Bible. It's a saying. That's my theology. Could be. It's a theory. All right. When you realize all the stuff that God does and all of the intricate stuff He done to the great degree and detail on a personal level, and the lengths that have been taken, it's not such a far-reaching theory that I have with that, because God has plenty of time and He has plenty of patience just to go through the trenches and the situations and the decisions and the moments and the seconds and the years. God has time to go through all of that with a fine-tooth comb. And one that dawns on you is kind of big. That he can do all that, and he can really He can really take time. God is not so far removed that he has no time for the little stuff. Okay, and that's kind of important to know that. And it's kind of hard to stay on that because it's such a big concept. But here it says Pharaoh's 2 dreams. I guess one with the cows, one with the corn. Okay. In 41, Joseph said, quite frankly, that God will be interpreting her dream. Not him. Even though he's saying that it's God doing interpretation. He's saying that quite frankly that it's God doing that. Just like the Christ. Hey, this is not, it's God doing this. So the resurrection and all that, this is God. That's what's going on. The whole setup was from God. So that was stated very clearly by the Christ. Very frankly, this is God doing all this. The new covenant. So don't quote me on that. It's funny he says that twofold thing because my dream was twofold too when I had a dream about this channel. It was me fishing and there was 2 fish. I didn't know that. Now it's dawning on me that could mean the twofold manner like this. Now I'm about to let y'all go, but we'll do the rest of these footnotes tomorrow. But we're finished with 41. But yeah, that dawned on me, y'all, that I had a dream with 2 parts in it with 2 fish. With 2 different areas we were fishing in. I was on the same boat, but as I was fishing, it was about 30 feet off from the shore. We caught one, and then I turned and looked, and we were catching one right next to the shore. So those 2 fish is almost like just 2 parts of the dream, if you ask me. So I'm just throwing that out there. That, the whole dream was about having this channel and reaching and catching some people. And getting the message and doing some preaching and reaching somebody. And that's not out of context to be fishers of men. So guys, I want to thank y'all for today. We're on YouTube at Preach Facts. It wasn't our best day. You can reach out at the Gmail at preachfacts7@gmail.com. We'll finish the footnotes tomorrow. I'm way over. I'm not supposed to go this far over in time. Have a good day. looking forward to my own study today about debates and stuff like that, and just up to date Christian knowledge. So y'all have a good day.